How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to ReWrite. So yeah, last time got real crazy because Lucia's powers are no longer able to be suppressed. She's as dangerous as she's ever been. Really bad news as it is there. And she had a bit of a breakdown when she was overhearing over the intercom the scientists talking about how terrified they were of her and how they didn't know what to do. And so she felt hopeless. She refused to look at her phone because she knew that Kotarou would be trying to talk to her, and she was kind of scared to face that. And then out of the blue, Colty McGee with her troop of Guardian rejects shows up and says, oh, hey, you know what? You can still be what you need to be. And the spirits are away, and so now we're standing here realizing that despite everything looking relatively positive on our end, suddenly Lucia's just gone. So yeah, fun stuff. I'm a little concerned. I think that might be an understatement. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I have no idea how long it's going to take us to find her. And what sucks too is like, while I'm sure Kujo is gonna want to help us find her, she's also got her hands full with Gaia essentially declaring open war against her and the rest of the Guardians, and an imminent capture of the key in progress might supersede the crisis with Lucia. So I don't know if she's even going to be able to help us much, but I don't know, we'll have to see. Maybe we can rally some of our friends. But usually, in the last few stories we've done, our other friends kind of stop being as relevant or participatory in the story. Suzaru might be able to help us, though. So maybe she'll be able to come swinging in and be able to provide a resource for us to work with. But we'll have to find out. All right, let's just jump into it, shall we? Lucia disappeared. How? Where? That's not good enough. I didn't even know what to say, what sort of facility she got pulled into, and yet she disappeared. Did Gaia attack? Was she kidnapped? Oh, right. I forgot that they retain memories and can then translate them into the caster. So if it looked at his face, they probably marked him as working with Guardian now. Right. Cool. So what? Now they think I'm part of Guardian too? Like I care? They can come at me anytime. I'll grab them by the collar and get them to spit out where they took her. Dang it! Oh, Suzaru, you're not doing very well, are you? Suzaru, are you alright? Suzaru still looks very terrible shape. She's lost a lot of her strength. As she is now, even talking for a short while is already tough on her. It's fatigue. That's what my whole life has been for the last 2 years, and it sounds silly, but it's absolutely real. It can be a point where standing and holding a conversation can just be exhausting. Even if she tells me to wait, I can't calm down. But if I stick my neck in, I might end up getting attacked by another Gaia's monsters. Though I'm acting tough, if Miss Nishikojo hadn't showed up at that time, I'd be dead. Just 5 seconds later, and that would have been the end of me. If I want to be able to do something for Lucia, then all I can do now is sit still and wait. Oh, that sucks, though. I'm not sure I'm sure Lucia's had it harder than I do right now. Right. The scientists. They might have been next to useless in actually stopping what happened, but maybe they can at least give us some clues.
Brenda マクファーデンなんてこと。次世代人類プロジェクトの副主任だわ。主任のバーソロミューとブダペストで暗殺されたと聞いてたけど、やはり生きていたのね。いつの間に日本に。
She alone doesn't have any power, but if she were to lead the remnants of the old project, that could only spell danger.
なぜ今頃になってあのプロジェクトを？設備も資金もないはず。
Oh, well, here's the problem though. Guardian is so fractured. First of all, it's not inconceivable that they could have buttered up to different branches of Guardian and gotten like their project funding and resources without other branches of Guardian knowing, especially ones that are knowingly hostile to the project itself. But if others were convinced that it was the right direction to go, they could just do it, and Nishikujo would not know about it. Secondly, they might have received funding from an alternative source. I mean, they could have gotten some kind of private grant money from a government of some kind to potentially develop some type of like bioweapon. I mean, if they sold Lucia as a bioweapon, that's a pretty easy sell. She's real effective at that. And then on the other hand, it could even be Gaia. Have Guardian, attempted to be assassinated. Because you said attempted to be assassinated in Budapest. You'd assume Gaia would try to assassinate them. But what if Guardian was trying to clean up its messes? They'd have valuable intel to be able to run to Gaia with to use as a bribe. That could get the funding too.
ブレンダの後ろに誰がいるの？ガイアにプロジェクトを売った？それともプロジェクトを潰されたことへの何かの復讐？他には何を言ってたか覚えてるかしら？
あと、あなたにしか成し得ない目的と価値、そして任務を与えられると。
ルチアにしか成し得ない目的と価値。任務？
I still think like Lucia has effectively become like a living biological weapon. A smart bomb, smarter than any bomb out there, because it can degrade and shatter technology and people and animals. She could go in and be like, I used to equate her poison to like being akin of radiation, but actually now seeing its full frontal force and her full capabilities, she's worse than radiation. She's like a bioweapon, radiation, and fireball all rolled into one. If she completely unleashes herself, she could probably literally dissolve a city to ash and all the people within it. The Next Generation Humanity Project is supposed to put its torchbearer in cryogenic sleep, completing its mission once they're sent 1,000 years into the future.
まさか、あいつら、彼女を冷凍睡眠させて、今さら1000年眠らせるつもり？マッドサイエンティストどもめ！
But who would support such an utterly absurd delusion? No, the entire thing was insane from the beginning. They just found someone to sponsor it and gave birth to Lucia. And just who would even guarantee that she would remain asleep for those 1,000 years, and that she would wake up after all that time? All that amounts to stuffing her in a freezer for waste disposal. They keep talking big about how great and noble it was.
ルチアちゃん、あんたの生きる世界はね、1000年後とかいうわけのわからない未来じゃないのよ。人はね、未来を生きるんじゃないの。今という現在を生きてるの。
That's true. That's very true. You want to live in the present, but you also want to plan for the future. You need both.
それを生き抜く強さを思い出して、それを与えてくれる人間と、あなたはようやく出会えたんでしょ。
But she's probably convinced herself that Kotarou isn't safe, because the last she heard, he was in the hospital too. They probably didn't get the chance to tell her that he's fine. A large group descends a spiral staircase into an underground facility with Brenda at the helm. Because Lucia is made to wear a protective suit, her appearance stands out from the rest. Normally, a protective suit is meant to protect its wearer from the outside. In her case, though, she's wearing it for the opposite reason.
ここはどこですか？ガーディアンジャパンが70年代に極秘に作った核シェルターよ。
Interesting.
当時は東西冷戦の真っ只中で、核戦争による世界終末が目前のことと考えられてた。
I mean, technically, we are still one step away. One wrong person with a turnkey in their hand, they could definitely get that going.
世界各地のガーディアンは核戦争に備え、文明を未来に引き継ごうと、世界各地にこうした秘密のシェルターを作ったの。さながら現代の箱舟ね。
The space is cold and vast, filled with inorganic, bare steel frames jutting out everywhere. The ceiling is high, giving the impression of a domed stadium. This is a place built to accommodate whatever is meant to be sent to the future, an underground ark. With nuclear warfare having been nothing more than a mirage, this long-forgotten ark has lost its purpose. Containers are piled up everywhere in the room. These are filled with records, various models from the 70s, in order to preserve a culture of the time for the future.
これ、覚えてる？これは。
Are they underneath, like, where the orphanage is? Brenda opens up one of the containers, revealing its contents. In the container rests a jet black mechanical coffin, its lid still open.
冷凍睡眠装置。
完成していたんですか？未完成のまま終わったとばかり。
ええ。私たちの作りかけの装置は没収され破壊された。しかし、ジャパニーズは恐ろしいわね。
Oh, wow.
その装置を70年代にすでに完成させていたのよ。
So, technically, they'd already invented it, and they were reinventing it and got stopped.
だいぶ古いから調整と改造が必要だけど、
Ooh.
基礎設計に問題はないからそれには大した時間をかけないわ。
So here's the thing though, they're in Japan now. So this is an old Guardian bunker the Japan branch should know about. They also shouldn't be able to get access to something like this without the Japan branch knowing about it somehow, right? Wasn't there even basic security around the thing anymore? Especially if it had technology like this.
今度こそ私たちはあなたを約束の地へ送り届けてあげることができる。あなたのあるべき。
What
こ
lies...
の向こうに私の生きることが許。
The cryogenic sleep chamber is not only going to send her to 1,000 years in the future, the device itself functions as a small isolation chamber, keeping her own toxins from leaking out. In other words, the black coffin is the only place in the world that will let her sleep without ever troubling anyone. What's with the recent stories lately and girls wanting to just put themselves underground? Like, literally in a box underground.
横になってみる？
Lucia is wearing her protective suit so she can't lie down inside the machine. However, once she does, the next time she wakes up, she can finally be in a world with meaning, a world where she can exist for a purpose that only she can fulfill. Once she does that, she'll no longer trouble anyone in this world. Without leaving marks on anyone, without marking anything without making anything wilt, without causing anyone to die. There won't be sunflowers that will wither, no goldfish that can die. She won't be leaving any purple marks on her caretaker, no one will be flailing around oozing pus from their wounds. Tears stream down Lucia's face as she weeps. But she weeps not out of sadness. Finally, she'd arrived at the place that she'd had to return to. A strange sense of accomplishment wells up within her, manifesting in her tears. What Lucia truly wanted was not sympathy. She wanted meaning, a reason to live. When the mere act of living threatens the lives of everyone around her, this is all she wanted. That's so sad. Her heart was broken and hurting. She would follow anyone who would give her meaning, even if it were the devil himself. But to her, they would be no devil. They would be an angel, God's own messenger.
私たちはあなたのベッドの調整をする。そしてあなたには今あなたでなければ成し得ない任務があるの。
Oh boy, that sounds terrible.
ブレンダ司祭、それは何ですか？何でもお命じを。この花ルチアは何かをなすために生まれてきたのです。その末にあるのが1000年の孤独でも非業の最後でも構いません。ただ私に生まれてきたことに意味ある任務をどうかお与えください。
I wonder if they're gonna try and like unleash her on Gaia, like just send her down to the Gaia HQ building. Lucia stands at attention while saluting. She was hurt. She can't close her own wound. For her, being told that she's needed is what the most important to her. Kotarou pledged he would never leave Lucia alone. He always gave something to her. However, he never asked for anything from her. For some reason, that pains Lucia. I don't know. He asked for your cooking. That counted. Even though she needs Kotarou. Kotarou didn't need Lucia in return. At some point, Lucia realized that it was a one-way street. That for Tennouji Kotarou, Konohana Lucia is not someone he truly needs. But Brenda and the others need Lucia. I totally get why she's saying this. And frankly, it sucks because she's wrong. She's wrong. Sorry for the voice crack. But she doesn't have any ground to know that because they've only been dating, like a week? And they've gone on like 2 dates, kind of. Like there was the cooking date where she was in the maid costume. But that wasn't an official date, so maybe it doesn't technically count. And then they had their date to the mall, which was fantastic, and they confessed to each other, sure, but at the same time, like that's very ephemeral, and it all kind of evaporated like smoke right in front of her that same day. So I kind of get this idea that she genuinely doesn't understand or or have a reason to believe that Kotarou needs her, because he's been fine without her up till now. He might really like her, and she really likes him, but necessity, genuinely wanting to rely on her like she relies on him, I can get why she doesn't feel that way. It's not right, and it's really bad that she's willing to throw herself at something like this because it's an opportunity to be needed. But I also kind of get that desire to feel like you have a purpose in your life, something I struggle and face all the time. In fact, I'm very likely to be getting a job now that I've been starting to feel a lot better, thankfully. Which actually is interesting because I wonder if that's going to become a problem with posting regularly. I hope not, but I need to try and find a good balance, and we might just have to see an adjustment. I hope not. I'm so happy with all the support the channel gets, and I want to make sure that I keep putting out content that's like quality and worthwhile, but I also need to make sure I don't spread myself too thin. It's got to be a balance, and I got to see, like, how do I make life dance the way I need it to. But anyway, let's move on. Come on, Lucia, you can do this. They're telling her that they have a mission that only she can accomplish. For the wounded Lucia, it's not the Kotarou's words, but Brenda's that can help close the rift in her heart. Can you understand these feelings? Would you rather be the subject of pity? I cannot bear it. Even if it's the devil himself. I want someone to tell me they need me. Ah. Dang. She is the kind of person, the person who genuinely out of the kindness and goodness of their heart would make a deal with the devil. In like D&D stuff, like the warlock class, the one that makes the most sense is the person who has a heroic spirit and is just determined to do whatever it takes to achieve like their goals, to protect other people and to accomplish something meaningful. And Lucia would absolutely fall into that role. I just want them to say to me, I need you. That's all. Since then, I've been visiting Suzaru in the hospital every day. Slowly but surely, she's been getting better. It's the one and only silver lining in this whole mess since I haven't found Lucia's whereabouts. Summer's lingering remnants of heat have already long gone. It's now the season that flip-flops become pleasantly cool and a harsh chill. Though I see Miss Nishikyojo at school, she dodges the questions whenever I ask her about Lucia. At school, she's no more than my teacher. I suppose anything else goes against our house rules. At first, everyone in class was pretty worried about Lucia's extended leave of absence. She'd been absent since the whole incident. A bunch of ferocious wild animals appeared all over the city and killed a lot of people. Everyone had been whispering amongst themselves that she might have been caught up in the incident and killed. Of course, if she really were dead, then she wouldn't have been kept being marked absent. That being the case, she's still alive, either skipping school or out sick. Either way, as long as she's alive, then there are no problems. With that sort of logic, but by bit, everyone stopped worrying about Lucia. To begin with, she never had any friends or allies anyway. Eventually, they'd all gotten used to Lucia's seat being empty, and the topic just disappeared from their minds altogether. How depressing is that? Kotarou was anxious about Lucia at first, too, but maybe she's gotten so worried that even she's gotten depressed. These days, she looks absolutely exhausted, staring at the floor and letting out long, deep sighs. Yeah, because she's literally fighting a war by herself. She doesn't look like she's willing to talk about it either. In the midst of it all, the one who's most worried about Lucia is Chihaya.
あなた、ご町内のおせっかい焼きじゃなかったでしたっけ?
Did I ever have a tagline like that? Nowadays, I'm just a troublemaker taking advantage of class rep's absence to break all the rules.
あなたは彼女の欠席の事情を知ってそうな気がしまして。
Oh man. I worry because like she technically is with Gaia, and so like I want her help and I want to like I hope he talks to her, but at the same time anything he tells her is likely going to get fed directly to Gaia, which is not great even if she doesn't intend that. What makes you say that?
これまでのあなたなら私を誘ってお見舞いに行こうとかまた騒ぎ出すところです。
That's also fair.
でもあなたが騒ぎ出さないということは実は休みの理由を知っていて。
She's oddly insightful here.
さらにそれがどうしようもないと分かってるからそんな風にぼんやりと諦めたような表情を浮かべてるんじゃないかと思いまして。
There's a lot that she doesn't get, but when it comes to people, she gets people. She really does. It's really uncanny sometimes. He'd be right, in a way. If there was something I could do, I'd already be doing it. It's because I can't do anything about it. I'm just zoning out here.
私、行ってきたんです。
Oh boy.
この窓ガラスが割れたままで、新聞紙か何かが貼ってありました。玄関のドアには警察の張り紙まで。
If everyone found out, that'd be the new topic of gossip.
そういうの不愉快なんで言いません。
Hearing Chihaya say that so firmly feels a little nice. Well, she's probably just got hurt and has to recuperate in the hospital.
病院にいるんですね。
Maybe.
面会に行っても謝絶された？
You're really sharp, you know that? I haven't said anything, you just keep going.
彼女は無事なんです。それだけは間違いない？
Yeah. Seems like she'll be in the hospital for a while, but she'll be back for sure.
そう。ならよかった。
Even if she's in the hospital?
ええ。命に別状がなくて、そして遠方の病院で長期入院なら、私はそれが一番ベストだと思います。
See, without the context of knowing how involved she is with Gaia, this would seem really rude, like, oh, okay, as long as she's not dead, I just don't want her to be around. But in reality, she's like, look, I just don't want her getting hurt. You sure say some weird things, I don't get it. And she's worried, oh, she's probably pieced together based on the attack and the intel, and probably through Akane, that she is an agent of Guardian. And so, she knows if they ever encounter each other, she might have to fight Lucia. And she doesn't want that because she does care about Lucia, even if she seems all flippant, remember? Like, we've established that she does genuinely care, even if she finds her aggravating at times. So she just wants her to stay away until all this mess blows over, because then Chihaya won't have to fight her.
わかんなくていいです。女同士の事情だと思ってくれれば。もうすぐ収穫祭ですね。小太郎はどう過ごすんですか？
I was chasing after a pretty juicy scoop about the supernatural. I made a lot of headway into it and all, but I totally dropped it at the interview stage.
何それ、めちゃくちゃ面白そうなんですけど。
I basically just threw everything out the window. So during the Harvest Festival, I'll probably just go to the school half of it. I'll probably just go to the school half of it and come up with a lame excuse, topic, or whatever. Isn't that fine too? Instead of mingling in some cramped festival, going to an empty school sounds way more enticing.
お、それいいですね。そうした方がいいと思います。
And she's like, oh good, you'll be out of the way too. Oh, that's a letdown. I thought she'd be lambast me for being so apathetic. What about you, Chihaya?
私は仲間とフィールドワークがありますので。
Again, it's one of those things where, like, with a little bit of context, that line means so much more than it sounds. With the ORS?
いいえ、それとは別の関係の仲間です。
That's so. Isn't that great? You managed to join a group of others you can consider your friends and all. And so soon, too.
まあ、私にもいろいろありまして。私もこの花さんと同じで、友人作るの得意な方じゃないんです。
Two birds of a feather, then. Would have been better if you made friends with her.
そうですね。その機会がまたあるといいんですがね。
こら、いつまで突っ立ってんだ。着席しろ。
Vice rep.
福音。
Without Lucia in class, there's no order. Nobody even bothered to go back to their seats until the teacher shouted at the class. I checked my phone. There's no notifications for calls or messages. Nothing. Lucia, I know you took your phone and charger with you when you disappeared. Why have you left your phone off? You could call me, or I could call you. Just please turn your phone on. Lucia, you need to tell her you need her, bro.
こんにちは。お昼のニュースです。最初のニュースはいよいよ明日より始まります風祭市収穫祭からです。現地の小野田レポーターがお送りします。
Man, it feels like a lot of time is passing. We're going straight to the festival.
はい。今日は風祭市に来ております。ご覧ください。今年も前夜祭から大いに盛り上がっております。風祭市収穫祭の最大のポイントはエコロジーであること。会場のあちらこちらにそのための様々な工夫を見ることができます。
Despite Kotaru's indifference, the city has already finished preparations for the Harvest Festival. There are a variety of relevant infographics posted to raise awareness on ecological issues, as well as announcements on cutting-edge environmental technologies. However, for most of Kazamatsuri's citizenry, one of the most important of this, the big festival of the year, is that they can enjoy themselves in. The whole city's abuzz, growing more and more lively. To my dearest Miss Nishikyojo, let me get straight to the point. You win. These pumpkin heads at the very top still refuse to admit that they've been dancing to Gaia's tune this entire time. My good friends at the DIA have just sent me the newest intel that's attached to this email. You don't have to force yourself to read it. It's just several dozen of pages proving that your documents and guesses were right on the money. Gaia's X-Day is, as you guessed, Kazamatsuri's Harvest Festival. It's likely that the last day, when the festival reaches its climax, they'll use their favorite monsters to start a huge panic. The DIA has already counted over 100 summoners hiding in Kazamatsuri. Oh, fetch me. Over 100 of those creatures are going to start swarming the streets and covering the skies, pretty much the end of the world. It looks like Gaia wants to turn this year's Harvest Festival into their own kind of finale. I can't even imagine the scope of chaos it's going to cause. All public services are going to be paralyzed. It'll be far too late for Guardian Japan to respond or all the other dioceses to send in support. By the time all those dunderheads admit that you were right all along, the key will already be in Gaia's hands having sushi bar party or something. I'm really sorry I can't be of any help. If I ever get the chance to visit Japan, do take me to that place you keep telling me about. James Otto. Sounds like he's never gonna make it back, like that was his last message ever. After reading the email in its entirety, Nishikyojo grimaces. Nishikyojo, if I ever get the chance to visit Japan, the world is on the brink of destruction here. The Harvest Festival is tomorrow. Guardian Japan has absolutely zero fighting capability. I'm continuing to request support from other countries, but it looks hopeless. We always leave the rough stuff to the other countries and keep trying to settle everything with money, but now, we're the ones that have to pay our country's tab. I've scrounged up and regrouped with as many of our capable fighter force as possible. I've lost a lot of trustworthy subordinates in Gaia's attack, and the only ones who can fill the gaping holes are a bunch of ragged mercenaries. I swear, if I could, I'd just drown my sorrows in alcohol all day. The fate of the world can just sort itself out while I get plastered. Despite all odds, we've become the Earth's shield and spear. That's our pledge as members of Guardian. Nishikyojo thoughtlessly opens the files attached to the email. Of the 7 attached files, only the last one is compressed with a strange encryption, resulting in garbled gibberish. The compression is first grade, top secret, the sort of file that would never just get attached to emails. Even trying to open it requires a password. Nishikyojo types out the name of the sushi bar that she told him about some time ago. The keys she keys in all sorts of Romaji equivalents to the store's name, cracking the password. The file name reads Run. Cryptic. Run would normally refer to executing a computer program, but this is a plain text file. There are no programs to run on it. In the text file is an even more cryptic short sequence of letters and numbers. Wall 304.
ジェームスめ、緑茶に砂糖入れたのまだ恨んでるのね。子供なんだから。
WAL 304. Well, WAL could be a 304, and WAL could be listings of a potentially a mailbox or a drop box. Like in America, it would be PO box, like a PO and then series of numbers would likely take you to a local post office where you could pick up a package. It would a sequence of letters like WAL, WAS, WAL. Could that be a box? Could that be a acronym for maybe a store or something? Wait, what is WAL, WAL, and 304? Unless it's a real basic letter cipher, which it could be letters. Could it be 21? 21, 1, and 7? Okay, so 12. I don't know. World Airlines. So World Airlines Flight 304. Oh! Yeah, well, there you go. After looking it up on the internet, it looks like a New York to Narita flight arriving at midnight. Someone related to Guardian is on a flight from New York. The next day, Nishikyojo received communication from headquarters that she will have a guest coming. A cardinal registered with Guardian was invited to the Harvest Festival as a guest of honor by its coordinators. Oh, good no, that's not good. Headquarters has taken a strong interest in environmental issues lately. It's been customary for them to send guests to international events having to do with the environment. Therefore, this visit is not directly related to the mission of Nishikyojo and the others. The visiting Cardinal House has no connection with Guardian's darker side and is unaware of Nishikyojo's mission. Oh. So, Guardian as an organization has two fronts, and in fact, the brighter front of Guardian might be like literally part of the Catholic Church, outward facing wise. His visit's only going to give a rousing speech for a few minutes. But what if headquarters is actually aware of the situation and sent over an envoy who knows the group's darker side? Part of Nishikyojo hopes that's the case. She types away on her keyboard at a frightening pace, searching all over. There's no doubting it now. The Cardinal Bertolini is arriving at Narita World Airlines Flight 304 late tonight. The flight is over 12 hours long. He's probably already on board above the Pacific Ocean. For just a moment, something flashes in her mind, the worst case scenario. To confirm her suspicions, she makes a call to the Tokyo Command Center. Wait. The message also said run. Is that because something like on the plane is going to happen?
西九条です。風祭り市収穫祭へ参加されるベルトリーニ教について何か情報は？
ご登壇は予定通りです。明日の収穫祭のワールドエコロジーフェスタ式典に登壇され、その後すぐに帰国されます。枢機卿の登壇は16時の予定です。警護は問題ありません。
明日の予定はそうでしょうね。今日の予定は？
若干の変更が、先方のミスがあり、予定されていた便をキャンセルされたようです。現在、新しい便が手配済みで、成田到着は明日の昼頃になる予定です。それに伴い、要人との会見がいくつかキャンセルになり。
304便に乗らなかった？
はい。ガーディアン USA 側の手配ミスと聞いておりますが。
Okay. Suddenly, Nishikyojo understands everything from the message. The Cardinal's flight was cancelled due to a mistake.
ラン、走れじゃないわ。逃げろね。
Uh-oh.
はい。
枢機卿秘書官か反町司教補佐を呼び出して、優先度最上、親の葬式でも呼び戻して。
優先度最上、了解。呼び出します。
ベルトリーニ教は多分、突然の健康上の理由で次の便もキャンセルするでしょうね。
Uh-oh.
間違いないわ。
Oh, wait. Is this a betrayal then?
総本部は裏で何かを手配してる。方法は不明。鍵とガイアをまとめて始末する何かだわ。風祭り仕事吹き飛ばすつもりよ。
Is that what Lucia's going to be used for? Is that the thing? Is Lucia their, like, Plan Z, their like, Guardians of Sectoral Nuke? Like, okay, we've been outplayed, Gaia's about to do their business, so we're going to have Lucia unleash her full potential on Kazamatsuri at the height of the event. At the time when this cardinal was supposed to speak, to try and keep a cover. Oh no. And the run is get away from Kazamatsuri because it's about to become the epicenter of essentially a super nuke, a biological nuke.
司教補佐がお越しになりました。変わります。
久しぶりだな、西九条。今メモを読んでる。クソったれな話だな。情報源は誰だ？
CIA、ジェームス・オット。
実は俺のところにもさっき SIS の友人からここだけの話ってやつが来た。米軍の戦略源泉の一隻が実戦態勢移行で24時間待機を発令されたらしい。
Okay, no. So I was kind of right. I thought it was going to be Lucia who was going to be the weapon. No, they're literally going to be using a nuke.
今から12時間前の話だ。目標は不明。そもそもこの情報のリークの意味も不明だったが、お前さんの情報でピースが合わさった。
Time and place, and we have the means. So now we have means, motive, and opportunity.
聞きたくないけど、搭載弾頭は？
SLBM セプテントリオン C2。
Oh my gosh.
今流行りのクラスター核弾頭ってやつだ。環境汚染を最小限に抑えつつ広範囲を攻撃する。
It's hydrogen bomb clusters. Hydrogen bombs, because they're fusion bombs, they don't actually do much radiation. The fusion reaction that starts off the fission reaction that starts off the fusion reaction would give off radiation, but it's a small amount because it's a very small detonation, and then it triggers the bigger detonation. But you know, fusion is a very clean reaction, destructive but clean. But it's also going to be essentially not one, but like probably 12 nukes.
どうやら米軍は風祭りの収穫祭でそいつをエコロジー軍事部門で出展したいらしいな。
Oh my gosh.
なんてこと。米軍は核で風祭り仕事鍵を。
我々が鍵を抑えられなきゃそうなるってことだろうな。
Oh, great, no pressure.
ガイアはインターネット上の非公式サイトで数日以内に全世界の同志に重大な発表をすると予告している。連中にハったりはない。鍵の確保はもはや秒読み段階と見て間違いないだろうな。
その厳選の24時間待機というのは24時間後に発射するという意味？
即応体制の意味だろう。いくら米軍でも核弾頭を同盟国に口実なく撃ち込めない。
口実待ちということね。
Oh. They're gonna wait for that, what was that time X? Like the peak of the Harvest Festival when they start releasing all the monsters? They're gonna use that as an excuse to say there was some kind of like biological attack.
もしガイアが風祭りで大規模行動に出たらそれを口実にするつもりだろう。
Oh my gosh.
風祭りの戦力ではそれを未然に防ぐのは不可能よ。その増援を私は数ヶ月前から要望してるわ。
それについては朗報がある。数機教団に話が通り豪州教区が特殊部隊を派遣してくれることに決まった。24時間後に特一との交戦経験も持つ精鋭の一個中隊が君の指揮下に入るだろう。72時間後にはガーディアン JSDF の出動も可能になる予定だ。
I gotta admit, I really want to see what elites that are good at fighting special ones would be like, because that sounds awesome. But that doesn't seem like we have time.
だがガイアの耳にもそれは入っているだろう。24時間以内にアクションを起こし先手を打ってくる可能性が高い。
核弾頭の件をガイアにリーク可能？
非公式チャンネルを通じて可能だ。揺さぶりをかければひょっとすると奴らも派手な行動を躊躇するかもしれん。
God, but that's like
やってみよ
う。That's flirting with like treason. According to Gaia's scripture, the key is supposed to restore the world by singing the song of destruction. In other words, even after making contact with the key, they still need a period of time. They would want to avoid anything that could ruin their plans. That means they could hold back from a big flashy operation in the open and shift directions to securing the key behind the scenes. If they do that, then there wouldn't be an excuse to bring out the nukes and we can buy time for reinforcements to arrive. After that, we'll have to conduct our combat operations in secret, but that's exactly what we wanted in the first place anyway.
いけるわね。撃ちさえしなければ米軍万歳だわ。
yeah.
一つだけ気がかりがある。例のブレンダ・マクファーデンの件だ。ブレンダはプロジェクトの残党を集め風祭り近郊に潜伏しているのは間違いない。プロジェクトを生き残った例の少女ルチアの誘拐を初めから画策していたのだろう。
So, unfortunately, that just means that this Brenda's still a wild card.
彼らはガーディアンの暗部だ。すでに除籍されているがそれは我々の内部の話だ。
ガイアから見ればプロジェクトの連中も私たちも同じガーディアンでしかない。
そういうことだ。しかしブレンダたちは我々のコントロール下にない。
So scary.
彼らという不確定要素がガイアと何らかの化学反応を起こし予期せぬ事態を引き起こすかもしれないことを一番危惧している。
So maybe what's going to end up happening is we stop Gaia, but then Brenda and her maniacs do release Lucia and eventually essentially start setting off the same reaction of the nukes.
ブレンダが余計なことをしてそれをガイアが挑発と受け取れば彼らはリークを張ったりだと思うでしょうね。そうすれば全面戦争勃発だわ。
そういうことだ。化け物の群れが世界中のテレビに流れるだろう。その上セプテントリオンは最新のステルス巡航ミサイルだ。世界は米軍の核攻撃にさえ気づかないだろう。おそらくガイアの核テロというカバーストーリーで国際世論を誘導できるつもりに違いない。
素敵すぎて涙が出るわ。
Yeah, me too.
こっちでもブレンダの行方は追ってる。でも風祭り近郊以上は絞り込めなくて。
十数人からの外国人グループだ。それだけの人間が目立たずに滞在できる場所は多くないはずだ。そして彼らの機材を置ける十分なスペースとにもかかわらず我々が知りかねていて。
ありがとう。今心当たりが浮かんだわ。すぐに調べてみる。我ら好みを捨て盾となり槍とならん。
盾となり槍とならん。
Nishikujo hangs up the phone and breathes a long, deep sigh. She leans back against the chair and stares up at the ceiling.
鍵にガイアにプロジェクトに核弾頭。
Yeah.
今年の収穫祭はなかなか豊作じゃない。
Yeah, I feel like the stakes are pretty high. With the key descending upon us now, what kind of judgment will it render on humanity? Nishikujo jolts upright and makes a call to her extension line.
私よ、70年代の例の計画、箱舟計画を調べて。
There we go, good.
莫大な予算を浪費して世界中に核シェルターという名の大穴を掘っただけに終わった非難轟々の黒歴史をね。
Ah, and because it was such an embarrassment, that might be why people forgot about it. Maybe why they weren't watching it. Guardian's always been worried about the end of the world, and it frantically does everything it can to resist it. With the scare of thermonuclear war in the 70s, the organization created nuclear bunkers in absolute secret. And now, with the fear of environmental collapse, it created this future being called Lucia. Nothing has changed with Guardian since then. Shouldn't we be dealing with the real reasons for the Earth and humanity's collapse? This organization is always panicking, going the wrong way, assuming that the Earth really will come to an end.
本当に私はバカだわ。呆れるわ。こんなの簡単に推理できたじゃない。
To be fair, you've literally been fighting for your life for years. The immediate present threats are a lot easier to contemplate and occupy your brain space than potential threats that don't seem threatening. The Next Generation Humanity Project planned to put their finished Project Lucia to sleep for 1,000 years to send her into the future, but that means they need a place to keep her safe for those 1,000 years. They formed Project Terrarium to choose a place for that, and they had access to information on secret shelters. They already knew about the secret shelters located near Kazamatsuri.
ええ、それよ。箱舟計画。風祭りの近郊にその計画があった可能性は近郊に放置された核シェルターがあったりするんじゃない？大至急よ。分職制圧と金庫破壊を許可するわ。調べて。
Break the locks, I don't care.
ブレンダ・マクファーデンとその一味はそこに潜伏している。
When nerves are at an all-time high with having humanity and God's messenger at odds with each other, the bunch of mad scientists are up to no good. Are they secretly trying to put Lucia to sleep in ice? I'm not going to let any of you lunatics treat her like a plaything any more than you already have. Oh my gosh. The Harvest Festival's tomorrow. It's the eve of the event, so technically the festivities have already gotten started. The classroom's lively mood is reminiscent of the last day of classes before summer vacation. I've been completely out of it since that day, though. Kotarou hasn't looked away from the floor for the past few days, and now she isn't even here today. She's absent. Chihiya's absent too. Kotarou hasn't looked well lately, so I can understand if she decided to rest, but I can't imagine why Chihiya would skip school too. Oh man, my broski, you don't know anything. I head to the RS club room, my head's still in the clouds. Everything began from that one submission to this post box. Oh, that's strange, she isn't here. Yeah, that actually is really weird. Like, who put that original post in anyway? Like, are we ever gonna find that out? It only takes me a moment to realize that Akane is also absent today. And both Suzuru and Lucia have been absent this whole time. There isn't anyone left at this point. I wanted to put together a crazy group of friends so we could all mess around and have fun. And now, it's all gone. Everything disappeared, like foam on the water's surface, fleeting, leaving no trace. Tennouji Kotarou will never let Konoha and Lucia be alone? Don't kid yourself. It's the exact opposite. Now I'm the one who's alone. Thinking back on it, maybe I always kept making a ruckus because I didn't want to realize how alone I was. I wonder how Lucia's doing now. Today, I'll be paying a visit to Suzuru in the hospital, still holding on to hope that we'll get some good news today. I used to bump into Nishikyojo during my visits. She's apparently been busy lately and I haven't met her in a while. I'm also completely in the dark on the whereabouts of those who kidnapped Lucia and the progress on the investigation about them. Homeroom finishes a little past noon and it's time for us to go home. All my classmates are ecstatic with the Harvest Festival week right around the corner. I'm the only one left out of all the excitement. Huh. Breathing a deep sigh, I step out of the school gates. Students dash past me on either side with smiles on their faces, eager to get a glimpse of the festival grounds, or perhaps to have their plans to hang out elsewhere. Feels as if everyone's leaving me in the dust, like they're all going someplace I don't know about. Man, this feels lonely. Where are you guys going? Where did you guys go? Could someone please stop and look over here? Tell me that we can go together. Suddenly. Against the flow of students disappearing into the light that lies beyond the school gates, I see a silhouette of someone waiting for me. Huh?
Kotarou.
Oh. What? 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 But aren't you, like, super deadly right now? As cliche as the phrase is, if this is a dream, don't wake me up. Well then, what other analogy can I draw? There's nothing else for me to compare it to. It's just how I feel, pure and simple. Lucia!
Kotarou no その声が聞けて
Yeah! Me too! If she really was just an illusion, she wouldn't have replied to me. That's why those words of hers alone are enough to make me cry.
Kotarou?
Why didn't you pick up? You know what? Forget it. I don't care. Thank God. You're back. You're finally back. Despite the throngs of students leaving school, I make no effort to hide my tears as I embrace Lucia. Who cares if someone sees me? The thought doesn't even cross my mind. If I don't hug her now, it feels like she'll be fading away into the mist. I embrace her through to show that I'll never let her go again.
Kotarou! こんなとこで恥ずかしい。
Well, I'm not embarrassed one bit.
じゃあ、私も恥ずかしくないな。
How is this working, though? Expressing how I feel right now through something as indirected words is even more embarrassing. Instead, I convey the strength of my emotions with how tightly I embrace her before letting go. Lucia, your gloves.
もう必要なくなった。新しい薬のおかげで、こうして往来を普通に歩くことができる。
Oh, fetch! Well, cool. But Brenda's the source of it, so I'm scared. Really? So they managed to make a new suppressant? Actually, wait. Weren't you abducted by a bunch of crazies? Where are they?
より高度な研究機関に移って、新しい抑制剤を調整してもらっていた。薬はすぐに効いたのだが、その効果を確かめるための観察期間が長くかかってしまった。新しい薬はすごいぞ。もう私は手袋などに縛られたりはしない。
The more she says, the more nervous I'm getting. Though it feels too good to be true, and whenever it's too good to be true, it typically is. I wonder if they're staged it to be specifically be a slow burn that she doesn't know about, so she'll purposely get herself in a position where she will become a super weapon. I see. If that's the case, then why didn't you tell me anything? Miss Suzaru and Miss Nishikyojo, we're all worried sick.
縦割り行政というやつだ。うまく横の連絡が取れていなかったらしくて、それを西九条さんが誤解して大騒ぎしてしまったのだ。当の私は後日になってそんな誤解があったことを知った。電話できなかったのはすまない。施設の厳しいルールで携帯の使用が禁じられていたんだ。私も一日も早く帰ってきたかったので、それを破るわけにはいかなかった。
Alright, that's fair, I guess. I still don't like this, though. It feels wrong.
心配させて本当にすまない。
Oh, so that's why. Ah, forget it. I don't care anymore. But why are you in your uniform?
学校に間に合うと思った。でも間に合わなかったな。
Make it for school? Whatever. We managed to see each other as soon as we could. Lucia was finally able to suppress her poisonous body that pained her so much. Not only that, but she was also able to take off those gloves, the symbol of her own solitude. She isn't late for anything, not a thing. School's just finished. I know you just got here, but it's already time to go home.
そうなるな。
Do you have any plans after this?
一つだけある。それを小太郎が覚えてくれていると嬉しい。
We're going back to the mall? Time for us to go on a date then.
覚えててくれて。
Of course. Our Harvest Festival starts tomorrow. Let's hang out every day. Let's check out all the exhibits. I'll make sure you have fun.
明日じゃなくて今日がいい。今日できる約束から始めたい。
Uh-oh. Maybe she only gets this afternoon. Maybe this is like the one gift that she has. You want to check it out today?
パフェを食べに行きたい。
I chuckle. Of course, there's no way I'd forget that promise. Let's go then. To that parfait cafe. Might be pretty crowded though.
小太郎となら並ぶのも楽しい。
They've got spicy and sweet, big ones and small ones, anything you can imagine.
辛いのなんて小太郎も嫌だろ。二人で一緒に食べる。
It's too sweet, and I feel like it's too much going on behind the scenes. I'm scared. Yeah, I want to as well. I offer a hand to her. She smiles and reaches out and grasps my hand. Memories of our date in Kazamo, where she and I held hands, flashes through my mind. Her hands, without the gloves on, were warm and soft, her real, uncovered hands. I will never let go of this hand. Never ever.
行こう。私たちはいい見せ物だ。
I don't like how she's being so brazen. Like, I really feel like she's like doing like a last day on Earth type thing. Yeah. What are y'all looking at? Come on, Lucia.
ガイアへのリークに成功した。連中は少なからず動揺しているらしい。
Oh boy.
官職では派手な一斉行動の自粛を検討し始めている模様だ。
核もたまには便利ね。それから
こっちの資料室に当時の備品台帳があった。君の予想通りだ。風祭り近郊のシェルターには冷凍睡眠装置が収められている。
ビンゴね。今そのシェルターの詳細な資料データの暗号ファイルを解凍中よ。遅延解凍ロックだとかで30分もかかるんですって。しかもおまけに警告音のやかましいことと言ったら。
So if we try to go in there, they'll know we're coming.
冷凍睡眠装置は次世代人類プロジェクトの完遂には絶対不可欠だ。ブレンダが狙わないわけがない。またルチアへの抑制剤投与の有無が不明なため、場合によっては彼女を安全に搬送するためにも重要になる。
奴らに連れ去られる直前の検査では、ルチアは抑制剤に対する免疫を獲得していることが判明してた。奴らはきっと自前の抑制剤を投与するでしょうけど、毒を抑えられないはず。持て余して冷凍睡眠装置に閉じ込めてる可能性も高いわね。
Yeah, and part of me is worried too that like it might be right, like they might have their inhibitors, but they won't be able to control the poison. But they don't tell her that. Maybe it's something that does a slow leak, and so she is expelling poison, but they just turn her loose to have a last date. And it like she's going to literally just start massacring everybody, but on a timed release. So like she won't know the damage she's doing.
最悪のケースだな。装置が作られて30年以上にわたって放置されてる。正常に稼働しない可能性だけでなく、密封性にも疑問がある。突入に際しては防毒装備が必要となるだろう。
ルチアちゃんが連れ去られてから少なくない日数が経過してる。最後の検査結果通りに推移したなら、今の彼女はサンタブローシアの時と同等か、それ以上の毒素を放っていることになるわね。
そのような事態になれば必ず発覚したはず。なのに今日まで潜伏できたということは、何らかの方法でそれを防いでいると考えていいだろうな。
Okay.
細心の注意を払ってくれ。いずれにせよ、今の彼女は歩く放射性廃棄物も同然だ。
やめて。二度とうちの子にそういうことを言わないで。
Oh, Mama Bear's been unlocked.
すまない。ただ、想定すべき事態だぞ。もしもルチアを収めた冷凍睡眠装置が収穫祭会場のど真ん中に置かれていたら、ブレンダたちは収穫祭の観光客100万人を人質に、国外逃亡の資金と安全の保障、逮捕されているメンバーの釈放を求めるかもしれない。
That sucks because like they literally could put her in cryo sleep and then use her as an unconscious bomb, like the newest of nukes. Members of the Next Generation Humanity Project were deemed to have committed crimes against humanity, and most of them were sentenced to life imprisonment. The rest of Brenda's cohorts are still in Guardian's worldwide wanted list.
なるほどね。連中はどこかで木の花ルチアが風祭り市にいることを知った。そして彼女を爆弾に仕立て上げて交渉の切り札にしようと思いついた。最悪だわ。地獄へ落ちればいい。どこまで罪のない子供たちを食い物にすれば。
Suddenly, a young agent in a suit bursts into the patient's room. From his excited expression, I can tell they succeeded in decrypting the file.
ごめんなさい。仕事の時間だわ。後で連絡する。切るわね。
解凍に成功。シェルターの所在と内部構造が分かりました。
Here we go.
制圧は可能？場所は？
無人の山中です。ヘリで15分。制圧は手間取るでしょうが、やれます。
籠城に有利。制圧にはガスがいりそうだ。
Her gas, specifically. Shizuru, who's been listening in bed the whole time, speaks up. She still needs to focus on rest and recuperation, but her condition has improved dramatically, and she seems to be quite restless.
換気室を制圧して、無力化ガスの使用を考えています。
向こうは毒の専門家よ。防毒装備が十分なはず。ガスは通じないわ。防弾防毒の重装備で正面から銃撃戦に持ち込むほかないわ。出入り口は一つ
？2箇所。ただし、容易に双方は制圧可能です。
袋のネズミにして、気長に兵糧攻め。
ルチアちゃんという人質がいる。長期戦にはしたくないわね。直ちに襲撃する。銃器の使用を許可するわ。
了解。
私も行きたい。
バカ言ってないで。寝てなさい。
ルチアを お願い。きっとすごく傷ついてる。
They don't know.
分かってるわ。私はガーディアンの暗部があの子に強いた苦しみを絶対に忘れない。あの子を絶対に見捨てたりなんかしない。
みんな聞いて。風祭りのガーディアンがここを嗅ぎつけたわ。
Brenda's voice reverberates through the wide open space of the dimly lit shelter. It seems like the earlier call was transmitted to her as well. There are about 20 men before her. There are all sorts in the group. Some pale, skinny white researcher types in lab coats, others are burly-looking mercenaries, single-mindedly cleaning their guns.
あとは手はず通りに。ピックアップまで時間を稼げばいいわ。
問題ない。期待通りの時間を稼げるだろう。
ブレンダ。本当に
Ooh, that voice. That voice sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before? Wait a minute. No. That okay, hang on. If any of you have been watching my Let's Play Total Eclipse, does this sound like Sendak?
ブレンダ。本当にうまくいくかな。
それに関しては了承するが、クォークオンの計画は第24次補正後を予定していたはずだが。
I'm pretty sure that's the same voice actor. I'd be very impressed with myself if I actually nailed that, but like it sounds so much like him.
何を言ってるの。私たちは。
Two beeps ring out, the mercenary leader's walkie-talkie at his waist. The other researchers turn their heads in surprise, wondering what the sound was.
了解した。ミス・マクファーデン。お客人ご一行の到着だ。歓迎を開始する。
The deep rumbling echoes throughout. Dust falls from the raw steel beams in the ceiling. The mercenaries start running around. Meanwhile, the researchers gaze up at the dark ceiling high above them, anxious. Brenda speaks, as if everything's already over. Gazing into the distance, she smiles as she pats the contraption. The black coffin, the cryogenic sleep device.
ルチア。私たちの最後の光。今こそ。あなたの世界へ。旅立つ時よ。
Yeah, it really sounds like at least Brenda genuinely believes in her cause. Like, it's crazy. So I'm not sure what on earth is going on because Brenda's talking like Lucia's in the base still. But Lucia's here with Kotarou and she's not poisonous. Is she somehow like being projected into like a doll or something? Because that would be interesting. Because it could potentially give her a way of living a real life without her actually being deadly or poisonous to anybody. But it doesn't feel like that's something that Guardian would do. It feels like something Gaia might be able to pull off, but even then, like, they even said that, like, familiars in the shape of humans very rarely last or maintain their shape in a way that would be recognizable. Although at the same time, Kotaru's parents and Sakuya were very human-like, so... If they were to combine Guardian technology and Gaia summoner abilities, you might be able to make a chamber that could hold somebody unconscious and cryosleep, but transmit maybe their thoughts to a vessel that they could then walk around in. Because if that were the case, then that's a pretty wonderful combo, but something tells me that's not what's happening. And Brenda feels super confident that even when Guardian like breaks into the base, like they're gonna have their ace in the hole, which I think is Lucia just walking around, and then maybe the suppressants they gave her are effective, but they can be like canceled out at the push of a button. So they could be like, hey, she's already primed and ready to go as our bomb. She's even in the heart of Kazamatsuri right now. So give us what we want. So we'll have to see. But maybe we have a fun date to look forward to next week. Maybe things will go kind of great. Maybe there won't be any terrible, horrific destruction and death in the near future. I'm super excited about that. But yeah, we'll get to that later. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel, for being a part of this community, really. For the direct contributors, you know, the patrons and the members, thank you so much. I missed last month's Patreon cast just because of the chaos of like being sick and just like family stuff. But I will be able to do another one really shortly and kind of catch everybody up. And also just a good, there's some big updates and just like behind the scenes, like personally, I mentioned before I've been feeling better. I'm going to give details about that in the Patreon cast, but yeah, that's I'm just happy to be doing here. to be doing this and being a part of the community and hearing from each of you. The comments have been fantastic. It's been so wonderful talking to you all and just having people coming and showing up to watch the videos. So thank you so much. I hope you continue to do so, and I hope that there's more and more content to bring you back in the coming years. But you know, we'll get to that when we get to it. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And until this video watching me, I'll see me in next. I'll see you there.